Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
We made this.
Wait, are we going on 3 or after 3? Hello and welcome to another episode of We Are Starfleet, a Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Strange New Worlds podcast. My name is Ashley Thomas, aka the Nerdy Blogger. I'm sitting in the captain's chair today. I'm joined by my number one. It's Mr. Mike Slamer. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Ashley, how are you?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Doing great.
Good. It's not just Mike here with us today. We've got a special guest, the brilliant, the beautiful, the amazing, my sister from the another mister. It's Brandi Jackola. Hi, Brandi.
Hi, please don't give me that to live up to. People are just going to be disappointed.
I'm just merely using descriptors of your person, so and all are accurate. Kind. So no, I'm just not a liar, Brandi.
Yes, I understand. I will do better about accepting what people think of me.
Brandi, I am so glad that you are joining us today. Buddy, it's been a minute since you and I got to podcast together.
Oh, been too many minutes since we've got to podcast together because there's just no Trek to podcast about for far too long. Yeah,
I think the last time you and I got to record together was it where we guest hosted an episode of Make It So for Lower Decks. It was the girls' trip I got to have with you and Clara.
Girls' trip. Yes, that was the last one.
Yeah. On that.
And that was a riot.
Oh gosh, that was so much fun. Such a good time.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad to have you on the show. So glad to have Mike back with me. Mike, how you doing today, brother?
You know, I had to get up at 6:30 this morning to get ready for a gig that I did over at an art gallery in the city. And, you know, it was just that kind of perfect set of circumstances that led me to doing my day job, doing all the things that I'm doing to do, getting home, taking care of everything just in time, watch the episode just in time to record. It's like everything today has lined up perfectly in terms of logistics and scheduling for myself. So I am just feeling buoyed by how things just line up.
That sounds like a really great day. And when you say gig, Mike, or you being Mike with the mics today or Mike with the guitar today?
Great question, Ashley. Today I was Mike with the mics, doing my live sound engineering gig as I do.
Love it. Very
I would prefer to get Mike with the guitar. That's much more entertaining for myself and for everybody else.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you got to do your thing. So anyway, guys, we are here today to talk about Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 3, Jinaal, which is a pretty fun episode, I thought. So, Brandi, I'm going to start with you. What is your overall rating for the episode? How are you feeling about it? And if you were going to give it a rating out of 10, how would you rate it?
Oh, I hate doing ratings out of 10. It's so boring.
Would you prefer a rating out of 7?
No, I never do a rating out of anything. It's always just one thing. Like when I was talking about the first 2 episodes with my friend Dan Gunther on our live show, The Unready Room, shameless plug, I gave both episodes a 1 drunk tipsy Tilly.
Oh, I think that's a really excellent rating. I think I would have given those first 2 episodes one drunk Tipsy Tilly as well. In fact, I did call her Tipsy Tilly in our recording as well. So
Yeah, well, Tilly is my goddess, So if she is part of the rating, it's excellent. So this one, if I were to rate it out of 10, I would give it, oh golly, there's so many things. I would give it a 9 out of 10. Oh. I really am enjoying this season. Of course, there hasn't been a season of Discovery that I didn't enjoy. And I like how they're piecing everything together, and there's so many little things that go into it. Plus, I'm loving getting more information about Rayner and how he operates, because for me, ever since what I call the Shaw incident, where the first time that I saw Shaw in Star Trek Picard, I was furious and I hated his guts, and 3 episodes later I was ready to die for him. So whenever we come up against a character that may kind of normally rub me the wrong way, in this case Rayner, I start to look at it from a different point of view and try to see things from that character's perspective. And so this episode has a lot more to digest where he is concerned. Plus, it has a lot more Tilly.
Yes. Always a plus in my book. Mike, how about you? How are you feeling about this episode?
Out of 10, I'm going to have to go in a little bit of a different direction today and say 6.5.
Okay.
And I have a couple of reasons for that we can probably get into a little bit later. But from the get-go, I loved everything with Tilly and Rayner. That is a pairing that I think is necessary for a lot of people, and I'm happy to explain why. And everything on the planet itself on Trill, there was a lot of stuff that was good, and in my opinion, there was some stuff that didn't quite really jive with the 32nd century technology that kind of struck me as being a little contrived, or as our fellow co-host Craig might say, perfunctory towards getting our expected results. However, that being said, that is on a initial watch, and I might feel different about it when I see it air on my big screen TV.
All right. Fair enough. I'm probably somewhere in between you guys. I'm maybe more like a 7.5. I think it was a perfectly fine episode of Star Trek. I enjoyed the kind of the mystical Trill stuff going on. I liked the showdown that Book and Michael and Hugh and Jinaal in Hugh's body had with the invisible spider fly. Like that was I mean, I felt like they were basically fighting a baby kaiju at this point. That was fun to watch. I especially loved the interactions with Tilly and Rayner. I think that's going to be a really interesting relationship dynamic to watch. And there's some other things that I wasn't as keen on, but we can jump into that. So let's just dive right in. Let's talk about this.
I love it.
Let's talk about this A plot. So we've got to go to Trill. That's our next step. We've got to answer the riddle, which I think is fun. That was the password. Like, we're not going to let you in unless you can answer this. So Mike, you want to kick us off? I'd love to hear your thoughts about the happenings on Trill.
Yeah, Trill, it's fun to revisit Trill. I really like seeing it. Was it season 3 that we visited Trill for the first time in the 32nd century?
Yes, Forget Me Not was that episode, yeah.
Forget Me Not, thank you, yeah. And I'm glad that they brought back the same actor to play Z, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Guardian Z. Mm-hmm.
Guardian Z, thank you, yes. So I'm glad, that continuity, that sense of, we're revisiting the same set. It looks the same. It's the same actor. It's the same wardrobe. That makes me feel good as a TV watcher and as a Star Trek fan, because it's not all just like a copy paste, let's make it up as we go kind of a situation. You can tell that the cast and the crew are like looking at everything from a sense of, does this track with what we did previously? So I like that. It was really good. The thing that I alluded to earlier that I didn't quite care for was, and I'm sorry, Adira and Gray, and this could just be me as a crusty 37-year-old white guy, and I'm not really into teenagers, having a romance. It doesn't apply to me. So for me, spending all that time with them was like, I would like to get back to the main story now, please. And that's not to say there was anything wrong with what they were doing. And it's nice that they kind of followed up on the relationship, especially how Adira left Gray previously. Well, I guess you could say that Gray left Adira previously, right? And it's nice to follow up on it, and I'll leave it there.
Brandi, what are your thoughts on the happenings upon Trill? Sorry.
I love that we got to go back to Trill, because it's always a good trip. It's always something weird going on Trill. So I actually don't have a problem with the stuff between Adira and Gray, because I don't see them as teenagers. I see them, they're probably of legal age, what we would consider at this point. So, they're adults in their own right. And it's interesting because it's kind of mirroring what's going on between Book and Michael. How they've been apart for so long and how they haven't been in contact as much. And now they don't know how to be the way they were with each other. And this is actually a normal part of relationships. The way you start out in any kind of relationship, whether it be romantic, friendly, what have you, you're never going to stay in that same place. Things are going to grow and change. And in both cases, for both Adira and Gray and for Michael and Book, I feel like it's more of a not ever, but more of a not now sort of thing. That's just my personal viewpoint on it. So I was actually very happy to see Gray again, because I love the actor, and I feel like they should have been in more episodes in the past seasons. Regardless of that, I really enjoyed just being in that room again. And, we could go into the whole stuff with Jinaal, but we're not quite there yet. But I'm excited to talk about that and just the goings on and the interesting things that they're hearkening back to other Trek series again with certain aspects of this episode. And that's a beautiful thing, because Discovery is, for all people complain about it, it is truly going where no Trek has gone before. And yes, we went back to Trill, but we've never been in this time period on screen in Star Trek. Discovery is the one who pushes those boundaries, and it still guts me that this is the last season. So, okay, that was my ramble. I think I'm done.
Yeah, no, that was a impressively brief ramble. Mine are usually at least 10 more minutes. So good job.
Well, I cut myself off. This is because I could have gone for another 10 minutes, and then there would be. So
fair enough. I was trying to figure out. Do we actually? I don't know that they've ever actually said how old Adira or Gray are, and so according to Memory Alpha, Adira was born in 3173, and we are currently in 3191. So would
18.
18. So I would assume that Gray, Trill symbiote notwithstanding, is somewhere in the neighborhood of that age too. So these are very young adults. We're talking like they're like college freshman age, maybe. Mm-hmm. So okay, all right. So I thought the happenings on Trill was really interesting. We haven't seen, I forget, what is the name of the ceremony that they do where they put the consciousness of one of the hosts in a non-host body? Because they did that in DS9.
It sounded vaguely European.
No, none of us wrote it down. We didn't come prepared. And I should know, but it's hard to remember, especially when you don't have the subtitles.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Paramount,
Yes.
when you listen to this, please, for the love of Star Trek and our sanity of having to go back and correct our spelling in reviews, please include captions. Please and thank you.
It just seemed like so. What I like about Trill and visiting a lot of these alien worlds is a lot of the mysticism that comes into play with these alien races that have been, brought on screen, and we get to see a little bit of that here. Instead of it, I was expecting to return to that in Forget Me Not when we made that connection with Admiral Tall, that we I can't, like, tendrils floating from the ceiling, and in this cloaked room, and it's this dark, deep place, and everything's going to get super emotional. And Guardian Z tells Culber, hey, it's a very emotionally scarring experience. Good luck with this. And I was expecting something like that. I was not expecting Jinaal to suddenly pop up and be this happy-go-lucky, hey, I'm breathing the fresh air again. That was really fun.
Yeah, and it was interesting to watch Wilson play someone who's not Dr. Culber.
Yes.
So because it's not like he has like a super gravelly voice, but I'm like, he's doing his best Christian Bale Batman right now, is what's happening.
Yes.
So he's all like, hi, I'm Jinaal, or whatever. Like, I think my voice might be deeper than the voice he was using, but it was fun to watch him kind of chew the scenery a little bit, which he doesn't always get to do quite as much as Dr. Culber, and that's not a slight against his performance. That's just not who Dr. Culber is. He's he's a very calming presence, and yes, emotional turmoil, yes, he is the ideal candidate to jump in and do that transfer. So I thought that was kind of neat to see. And and he does some nice shenanigans while using borrowing Hugh's body for a minute.
And why wouldn't you? I mean, it's quite a body.
Yeah, that's true.
He has like abs on top of abs. It's like not human.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, you can't argue with that. He's a very beautiful man.
I know that Wilson Cruz is gay, and when we were on the Star Trek cruise, my wife and we sat next to him at the bar one night.
Lucky.
And I was slightly concerned. It's like I had no concern going in, and my wife's sitting there, they're hitting it off. They're just, he's Puerto Rican and my wife's Dominican, so they're just like chatting it up, a couple of island people, and I'm like, hey, I'm here too. I'm here.
Yeah, I've gotten to interview Wilson a couple times, just briefly, in a roundtable setting. So basically, for those of you who are not in the know, that means I got to ask him one question if I was lucky. And so, but any time I've ever gotten to interview him, he is as sweet and charming as you would imagine. I think as Dr. Culber, he's just playing himself.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it was really fun to watch him play someone who is not like this sweet cinnamon roll kind of character like he is.
Cinnamon roll.
He is, and like literally, I'm writing the tweets for all my fangirlish articles when they come out, and so I literally described Wilson Cruz as a cinnamon roll. I've done that multiple times actually, like, and tagged him in it. I was like, I don't know how much he's on Twitter these days, but I'm just like, I want you to know that I think you're the sweetest man. I just love you. Anyway. Oh my goodness. Moving on from that, to use Craig's terminology, maybe kind of the relationship dynamics with Adira and Gray felt a little bit perfunctory. I kind of get a little more, I buy their relationship stuff a little more than I do the turmoil that, or the issues that Michael and Book are having. Mm-hmm. Because they had been in contact. They had actually been communicating with each other. And they're both really young, and they're learning how to be their own people. Like, I remember being 18 and, I mean, I've always had a pretty solid idea about who I am as a person and all of that. And that's not to say that that didn't shift at all, but I don't know that at 18 I could have really figured out my whole life partner situation, that sort of thing. I don't know that I could have figured that out at that time. So it's, I think it is really healthy of them, though, to acknowledge, like, hey, we're both still trying to figure this out, and I want you to be the best that you can be. And so I feel like, while yes, it did feel slightly contrived, I think it makes more sense. It makes more sense to me than the stuff with Michael and Book.
I'll definitely agree with you there. And Brandi, I like that you actually mentioned how it kind of mirrored Michael and Book's situation. I didn't think of that. I didn't pick up on that, but you're absolutely right. At the end of the episode, when Adira and Gray come together to have that conversation, it is a very mature conversation for people their age. And I, much like you, Ashley, there's no way at 18, 19, 20, I would have been able to have a mature conversation and been like, hey, I don't want you to leave just as you don't want me to leave what I'm doing for you, And there was a look on Adira's face when Gray said that.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
It's time for today's Lucky Land horoscope with Victoria Cash.
Life's gotten mundane, so shake up the daily routine and be adventurous with a trip to Lucky Land. You know what they say. Your chance to win starts with a spin. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com to play over 100 social casino-style games for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
Available to players in the U.S., excluding Washington and Michigan. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
And I kind of thought maybe Adira does want Gray to leave and does want to carry this forward. And they understand that it's not really feasible. They are, Gray is there to study to be a guardian, to carry the symbiote, and to, be a leader amongst their people. So that's a massive responsibility, which also ties into Tarina and Saru as well, which I think is really interesting. Overall, I like the conversation that they had. Again, I will say it felt a little bit like a little perfunctory and a little bit of a chapter closing kind of a situation where they brought Gray back for an episode and we're not going to see them until the finale where, whatever result might come of their relationship. That's kind of how I feel about that. And that's also partly why when I watched their scenes in this episode, I was like, I'm not here for this, because I know they're not really gonna. It just doesn't seem like they're gonna do that kind of relationship justice anyway.
Any other thoughts on that, Brandi?
Well, my husband said something today that hadn't occurred to me, and just even 3 episodes in, there is sort of this running theme that's kind of understated about people growing and changing and finding their place. Saru's leaving. Book and Michael aren't the way they were in there anymore. They have a different kind of relationship now. And same thing with Gray and Adira. People looking for their places. And it's really interesting because at the time they were filming all of these episodes, they had no idea that they were going to be canceled. They found out on the Star Trek cruise.
Right.
That's when they found out. And thankfully they were allowed to go back and film some extra footage for the final episode to kind of finish off the series. But you watch it and you look at all of these things and you have to remember they didn't know they were doing this for the final time. And yet there are all of these little threads that are pointing to something growing, people departing. I mean, they drop a line about Nilsson moving over to Voyager and giving a tribble.
Right.
And I thought, like, yes, that was a tribble I saw climbing that archway.
Well, I missed that. I'm going to have to go back and look.
Yeah. So it's interesting that theme is kind of already running through the season, even though this was never planned to be their final season as they were filming it. So it's going to be interesting to see that undercurrent as it goes through the series.
Definitely agree with that. And that was something in the roundtable interviews I got to do before the season started with a lot of the cast and crew, but also Alex Kurtzman and Michelle Paradise. That was actually asked to Michelle, like, hey, I know you guys didn't know, and yet there's so much finality in each of the episodes that we've gotten to see thus far. I just thought that was a really interesting observation. I felt that too watching it. Anyway, since we've brought it up, Saru and Tarina, let's shift a little bit to this part of the episode. So we've got Saru getting adjusted to his new life. Where are they at? I missed that.
They're at their, I believe it's Federation headquarters.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's not clearly stated if it genuinely is Federation headquarters. However, it is the same graphic set piece, and you in one of the scenes where they're showing all the starships in the area, you do see the rainforest vessel too.
Yeah, so we are in Federation headquarters, presumably. Saru's getting adjusted to his new digs, and I like that there's an engagement announcement. And Saru is described as the handsome and erudite Captain Saru.
And both of these things are true.
And both of these, yes, like he's like, these, can we take that out? She's like, well, it doesn't make them not true. I was like, I love that. So, and she says it in just a matter of a fact, Navarre,
only
Vulcan
the way a Vulcan can.
Yeah, it's just really fun, really fun. So, Brandi, I would love to get your thoughts on this new dynamic that we find with Saru and Tarina, and Saru getting adjusted to his new position.
Well, it's everything I hoped and dreamed that Saru and Tarina would get together. So,
yay!
Yeah. Rub it in, Mike. He's showing us his Saru bust. Yeah. Anyway,
Mike has a cool bust of Mr. Saru on his desk, and he was showing it off.
I love the two of them together, and the thing is that Vulcans in love is not something we see a lot in Star Trek, and I love that we're seeing it here. Because the fact that she actually vocalized early on that though they may love each other deeply, he shouldn't, consider their relationship as part of his decision to stay on Discovery or to become an ambassador. And of course he comes back with, of course I have to do that, later. But the dynamic between the two of them has always been perfect. We saw it from the first time they met. And I don't know if that was planned, but obviously they noted the chemistry between the actors and the characters and went with it to its natural conclusion. I could not be happier about that. Go ahead.
Sorry, it was not planned. Doug and Tara came up with it because they noticed it. So
yes,
I'm like,
I love that so much.
I love that. I love that.
I can't wait to tell Dave. He's going to be so happy. Yeah. Because I didn't know that for sure.
Yeah.
But
Doug said that in a couple of interviews that was all him and Tara, and they're like, is there something here? They would go ask Michelle and the writers, and they're like, oh, we can make that happen. So
yes,
yeah,
fantastic.
I love it.
I love it that is what happened. It evolved naturally, and they just wrote it in. That makes me so happy. The thing that I have to keep reminding myself is Saru has never been in a romantic relationship before, ever. He's never been in love before. Yes, he has family that he loves. He has literal family and he has figurative family, his family aboard the ship, but he's never been in love. So this is his first time doing all of these things, and he is doing pretty well. Except when her aide comes and talks to him. And I understand why he reacts the way that he does, because his thoughts are not for himself. His thoughts are only for Tarina and what this could do to her. But what he should have done, and I'm sure that he will do from this point on, is he should have immediately talked to Tarina. Instead of making assumptions, making suggestions that they delay their engagement. And she gets a little testy. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Honestly, don't blame her. Don't blame her at all. And the thing is that we knew this tiff wasn't going to last. I mean, it's Saru and Tarina. They're not going to be just fighting over miscommunication for the rest of the season. This is not a Hallmark movie, guys. Oh, miscommunication, my most hated trope. It's so easy to fix by just talking.
You know what? People don't even do that in real life, and that drives me bananas, because you want to know what I think? I will tell you.
Yeah. I will absolutely tell you. Even if you don't want to know what I think, I am going to tell you anyway, because I am not a fan of miscommunications. I will let you know exactly where I stand on absolutely anything. Just let me go, and I will tell you. So, yeah, I thought when that happened, when we were watching it the first time, I basically just went, ugh. No, don't turn this into a Hallmark movie. That being said, I watch a lot of Hallmark movies, so I'm not dissing Hallmark. I'm really not. Because, there have been some Hallmark hotties that have shown up on Star Trek Discovery. And so, the worlds cross over, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, that was really I understood why it happened. And it was really more than anything, Saru just being overprotective, because he just wants everything for Tarina to be the best it possibly can. And the fact that he might be a detriment to that is abhorrent to him.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. And, and some of this is him, he's just trying to look out for her. Also, I'm a little bit suspicious of her aide.
Same.
Yeah. Okay, good. It wasn't just me being all like, I was going to say sus, but my friend's 16-year-old son informed me that sus is not a cool word to say anymore. So I'm not going to
say it.
Okay.
Say it.
Well,
we don't want to say cool words
it's
here.
It's still in the millennial vernacular. So
okay. Well, we qualify for that. I'm a bit on the Xenial side, though. But oh well, it doesn't matter. I think Duvan or Duvan or Duvan or whatever his name is. Duvan, thank you.
Devin. Let's call him Devin.
Devin.
It's Devin. He's not good enough for us to remember his name. He's just Devin now.
What's with his haircut? He's got such a Devin haircut.
It's so Devin. I mean, he's just screaming Devin. Just when you look at it, before he even opens his mouth.
Anyway, he's a bit sus to me. So I'm like, one of two things are happening with this guy. Either one, he doesn't like Saru because he's jealous, and not
100%.
that a Vulcan or a person from Navarre might admit that they were jealous.
100%.
Or two, he's after some sort of political gain, and he sees Saru as a impediment to that, or he's trying to control more of what the president does as an advisor to her. And so he's like, you know how this looks, right? And Saru's like, we voted. I love what Saru says. It's like, she voted based on her personal opinions and beliefs, and I did too. Like, it wasn't like we consulted with each other and said, this is what we're going to vote for or whatever. And I think that was really cool. Like Saru is basically, he's not threatened if he and Tarina have a difference of opinion on how to handle something in this political role, even though they are a couple. And I thought that was really cool. But Devin or whatever his name is.
His name's Devin. His name is Devin.
Anyway, I'm having flashbacks, Brandi, to what we called Admiral Piss Off.
Sorry. Once they've been
Strange
named,
New
they
Worlds.
are forever in my head as that. Do I remember what his actual name was? No, he's just Admiral Pissoff now, and he always will be.
Admiral Pasalk.
Oh,
Strange New Worlds.
I'd forgotten. I don't care.
Anyway, this guy, I don't know. I am going to be giving him some side eye the rest of the season if he shows up again. So,
I personally, my personal feeling was that it was some kind of jealousy. I don't think it was necessarily romantic jealousy per se, but it just felt very catty to me.
He also mentioned something about Vulcan purists, and I kind of got the impression that he has his own agenda backing the Vulcan purist section of Navarre.
that's a good
Might
catch.
be a secret Vulcan purist.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And remember, it was I believe it was the Vulcan purists who went after Ambassador Sarek in season 1.
Yep.
Okay. That's a really interesting catch there, Mike. Good job. I
Thank you.
did not think about that.
Sometimes I catch things. Sometimes. One thing I wanted to talk about with Tarina and Saru is the representation of a positive relationship between two consenting adults. And what I mean by that is what, Brandi, you alluded to earlier with like miscommunication and the inability to move forward, and then, you know, one person takes it the wrong way and then they storm off and it's never really truly resolved. But you see this with Tarina and Saru. You see the not resentment, but the annoyance that Tarina had with Saru for not, number one, talking to her, and number two, trusting her and her own valid opinion. And once Saru catches on to that, he realized it right away, and he backed down, and he understood. And he's, you know, we have to remember, Saru's in a new environment. Yes, he's always played very well in the diplomat role on Discovery, but now he's playing in the big leagues with the Federation, and he's working to rebuild the Federation. This is a massive task that has been handed off to him by the Federation president. And he's taking it seriously. He wants to do not just a good job, he wants to do right by everybody at the table. And you see with the faces going around the table when they have that moment before they vote on it, you see that Tarina's like, yes, you're doing a good job. And you see the other delegates around the table, and they all have their different opinions. And I believe it reflects a true adult conversation that you would have in a room where not everybody necessarily disagrees. And I think that's really good to see on screen, on TV. We live in an environment today where a disagreement is a boundary that simply cannot be crossed. And the vitriol comes out, and the hard language comes out, and you start hearing things of, well, he said, she said, this, that, and the other thing, and the next thing you know, there's headlines all over the place. Saru and Tarina don't carry that same logic. They are open and empathetic, not just to each other, but to the people around them. And Tarina, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like she almost backed up her aide. And she says, I hired him because of his political savviness. I hired him because he knows how to navigate this field. And I may not necessarily always agree, but I need to take that into consideration. Mm-hmm. And that's super important. So even though we as viewers distrust Devin, Tarina may not necessarily distrust Devin. And that's something that I think we as audience members should look at and say, does she see something that we don't? Or is it our outsider perspective? And that's what I like about watching these TV shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think all of that is really valid. And I think the conversation they have at the end of the episode where Saru apologizes and they come to like a better understanding of one another. And you know, Saru's like, hey, I'm new at this. And she's like, conflict is part of of normal relationships. Like, there's a difference between having conflict and fighting all the time. And they had a conflict and they worked it out like responsible, mature adults. And my goodness, do we need so much more of that in TV and film?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's keep all of that in the, on the air, please and thank you.
One thing that I try to keep in mind, I'm married, so one thing that I keep in mind is that it's never the partner versus partner. It's partners versus the problem.
Yeah, I think that's a really great way to phrase that. And that's definitely what we see here. Yeah. I also really like that Saru respected her independence. Like, she said, I don't need you to protect me. And he said, no, you're right. You don't need that, but I do because I care for you. And I think that's a really important distinction. And that was something that Doug talked about in my interview with him. Something I asked, and I think I've mentioned it before, but the question I asked, it was a room with Doug Jones, and who's Saru, and then David Ajala, who plays Book. I asked him, I was like, you guys, and really I would argue that all the leading men on our current Star Trek series are some of the best examples of positive masculinity on television. I asked them, was like, so can you guys talk about that a little bit? And they were, they fist bumped right after I asked that, which I thought was adorable. But two, they were really flattered that I had observed that and noticed that. And here is an example of Saru acting in being an example of positive masculinity. This is how you do it, folks. We see lots of examples of toxic masculinity in the world, and we rightly should point them out, but we need to be pointing out just as often examples of positive masculinity. And I think this is a great example of him doing that, of listening, being sensitive to his partner's needs, and but also figuring out how they can move forward together and how he can make sure that he respects her boundaries and all of these other things. And I just thought that was really, really good writing there, and really great performance there from Doug Jones.
I agree completely with that. And the adorableness of Saru apologizing and her saying, I accept, and it's over. And he's just like, wait, what? He's not used to just apologizing.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
And having someone say, I accept, let's move on. This is over and done with. And I really, really liked that, because honestly, isn't that the way we should be doing this? Mm-hmm. If we're going to accept someone's apology, then we're not going to bring this up again. It's over. It's done. It's in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so nice to see emotional maturity on television. You see so little of that.
Emotional intelligence is far more important than people would have you believe, and Discovery is dripping with it and has been since day one.
Yes, absolutely. And people gripe about it, and I was like, then you need to go to counseling. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Actually, yeah. Without a doubt. There's a lot of people, let's just talk about it. There's a lot of people out there on the internet. Today, as a matter of fact, I saw tweets wishing for the death of some of the writers and showrunner. I could not believe what I was reading. These people are unhinged. All because, what? There's just adults having conversations with each other about doing better by each other. I get that, you might not like the technology. I get that you might not like the uniform. I get that you might not like how, they change some of the makeup for some of the alien races. That's fine. But to go off on this unhinged, disturbing rant, I'm sorry, but these people need to get real help. Like real therapy, possibly medication. I'm sorry, but it's gotten to a point where I cannot suffer listening to these people anymore. Reading some of their tweets, I've seen somebody call it shitter with an X, Xitter, and 100%, that's exactly what it is. It's shitter. I left shitter shortly after, maybe 2 or 3 months after the Elon Musk takeover, and I've really only kept the podcast, and I kept my accounts because I don't want bots to come in and take over the same usernames. So every so often I'll log in, and I, especially to promote the podcast, because there's still a very large Star Trek community on there. And I every time I log in, someone's saying, and I curate my feed, so I only follow mostly positive people, but even then, we just can't get away from it. People just come into the hashtag, the Star Trek Discovery hashtag, and it's like, no one asked you, number one, you don't have to watch it. That, like, you are free to turn it off. I'm sorry, I'm sorry to rant. I'm just really hot under the collar about it. These are all good people. Sonequa Martin Green is lovely. Wilson Cruz is an outstanding human being. Okay? Like, they are lovely, lovely people. I sat with Doug Jones at one point early on in season 1 when After Trek was still on the air. And just what a gentleman. We should all be so... we should all be so fucking lucky to have this show. I don't like everything about it, but I love it anyway. And I'm a crusty old white guy. Like, I am literally what people see and they're like, oh, he's a racist. It's like, it's 100% okay to not like something. It's 100% not okay to go off the rails and start ranting and wishing for the death of these people. Holy shit. Okay, with that, let me mute. Sorry.
No. I don't think you should apologize at all, because I think that it is a very valid point and it needs to be said, because and these people who are perpetuating such awful things, it's because they're not seeing themselves in the characters. They're not seeing, they feel like they've been forgotten. Well, yes, of course you have, because you're a relic. You're a relic. Get in gear. What did you think Star Trek was when it first premiered? All these people who say, when did Star Trek get political? September 8th, 1966. That's when Star Trek got political. With its very first episode. Deal with it. If you don't know how to figure that out for yourself, that's on you. You don't need to bring other people into your sad existence. Change yourself. Change yourself. Don't try to kill other people. Look at yourself and look at why this makes you angry. And maybe you'll figure out that it's because of you. Because you don't see some sad, angry person as the captain of the ship. You don't see some racist white guy as the first officer. It's because they don't see those things that make them angry. Because they want to feel validated. And there I went off on my own.
Guys, I don't think I have anything more to add to that other than, what they said. Yeah.
And leaving, I think, there's something to be said. People feel like they get left behind and they're not represented. And I don't see that. Because I see, they had Captain Pike in season 2. As the very straight and narrow, very business-oriented, empathetic captain all about business, right? You have right here in this season, you have Captain Raynor, Commander Raynor, who, because of his actions, got rightfully demoted, and Michael gives him a leg up and says, hey, let me bring you on board. I understand you went through some stuff, but you still have it. You can still do something good here. Prove it, right? And there's something to be said for that. That's literally the show reaching out to those people who feel like they got left behind and saying, here's my hand, just come with me and just be better. Be better. Be better. My brother Trent says it all the time. He's like, I'm done with all of this. Like, I don't want excuses. I don't even need an apology. Just be better.
And that's a word for all of us. Be better. Yep. Yeah. No, I love it.
Facts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, I think
How do we feel?
let's all
We got
take
it all
a
out?
collective deep breath. Okay.
Woosah. Woosah.
Well, I think one thing that really kind of ties those two. Well, actually, I'm going to put a pin in that. We'll come back to it in a second. Let's shift a little bit. So we've talked about the stuff on Trill. We've talked about the stuff going on with Saru and Tarina. Let's talk about Raynor on the ship, getting to know everybody. So.
Love this.
Brandi, I'm going to ask you first. What are your thoughts on this whole interesting dynamic of Raynor being ordered by Michael to get to know your crew?
The first thing that I thought was, oh, he is going to blow this. He is absolutely going to blow this. And I understood why. I totally understand where this guy is coming from. At the same time, he could be better. But I actually really love the character. I love the actor. I think the first time that I recall seeing him was Battlestar Galactica. He was the crazy Cylon who was trying to make Starbuck love him. It did not go well.
I think I knew that he was in Battlestar Galactica and forgot, and it's been so long since I watched that, I forgot who he was. Now that meme you sent us, Mike, makes so much more sense. There are a lot of Cylons in Star Trek, apparently. So,
yes, there are. There are a fair few. But I was really excited to see him again because I think he's a fantastic actor. But I also like the character, even though he's the kind of character that I probably normally wouldn't like. But
Shaw
the
did
Shaw
not have an
effect.
effect on me other than I thought he was a dick. But I talked about that last episode. But let's
Yeah, see, that's the
I'll say
thing.
that for my turn. So you go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can be a dick and still be effective. And that's the thing with Shaw, is when I looked at things from his point of view, is like, what if Picard had been the one who was the captain and Shaw had come and asked him said what he had said? Yeah, totally. Picard would have been like, hell no. I'm sorry, but no. So Raynor is in this position now where he was forced to take early retirement. Well, it was suggested by Vance, who had a really hard time with it because they've been friends for 30 years. And he ran his ship a very specific way. And when he gets to this point where he's accepted Michael's offer and now he's the first officer, he is trying to run the ship the way that he did. But he's not the captain anymore. And his captain has asked him, get to know the crew. Meet everybody. Get to know the crew. And so what does he do? He's not going to do it at all at first. And then Tilly is like, yeah, you are. God bless Tilly. And she says, hey, yeah, this was an order. And you got to do that. And he says, okay, so schedule 5 minutes with each person. And you can just see her just wanting to say things.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess? Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Just wanting to. And especially after she said, if I could speak freely, and then goes ahead and says that. And he's like, no, I didn't say you could speak freely. And she's just like, And I'm thinking, oh, honey, you don't know, Tilly. You don't know what you've unlocked here, and you are going to get it later. Because if there's one thing that Tilly is, and people sometimes don't like me using this word, but Tilly is an empath. Tilly can feel what other people are feeling. She can understand what other people are going through. And so she just keeps getting angrier and angrier and angrier as these meetings are going on. And he's just saying, in 20 words or less, tell me something about you that I don't know from your file. And then he would just cut people off after 20, even if they were in the middle of a sentence.
It's like, I'm sorry, my brain can't think that fast to count somebody's words as they're saying it. So
yeah, because what he wants to do is he just wants to keep working on the whole Maul and Locke thing. He's obsessed with it because they got away, and probably because he's angry at himself for doing the whole thing with shooting the torpedo and then them blowing up the mountain and, causing that avalanche. And we got to see those two ships just drop in and just stick their noses in the ground and create a shield. And that was the most awesome thing. I have never seen anything like that before.
That was so cool, right?
It was so cool.
Thank you.
It was so cool. Okay, if you don't know this about me already, you're about to know now. Every one of my emotions ends in crying. And I thought that scene was so amazing. I was crying. But anyway, that was episode 1. So watching this montage of him talking to all these people, I'm like, I'm just waiting for Tilly to blow. I'm just waiting for Tilly to blow. And it gets to that point where she's like, okay, I know you're not going to allow me to speak freely, so I'm just going to take that. And she just lets him know. And she explains all of this stuff to him. And then she's like, oh, here's your 20 words. She basically explains very succinctly, you're in a new place and you are upset about it. You don't know how to handle what happened to you. And you're taking that out on everybody else. And that makes you a giant dick. But she didn't actually get to say dick. And I'm just like, see, buddy, you shouldn't have messed with Tilly. You don't mess with Tilly because she will let you know exactly who you are. And you will have to look in that mirror and figure your damn self out.
I really enjoyed her Tilly takedown of Raynor. She just went off. She's like, excuse me, what? Like, just lets him have it. And like, the thing I really liked about that, season 1 Tilly never would have done that.
That's true.
Season 5 Tilly, our girl is confident. She knows, like, this guy, he's following the letter of what Michael has asked him to do, but he's not following the spirit of the request. And that's where she's all like, and no, that's not how we do things on Discovery. That's not the culture here. Discovery, I mean, every captain is different, and Discovery is a very different ship in that they are truly a generation of their own because of the time jump. Like, nobody else that they're gonna meet really is gonna have those same experiences or have that kind of tie together. And so, like, if Raynor's gonna be part of the crew, he needs to get with the program and understand this is the dynamic we have here, and you're not going to be an effective officer if you do not participate with this dynamic of how we get to know each other and how we work and interact as a crew.
Yeah, and he actually gets to see that in action when he goes to the bar, and he actually talks to Tilly. He says, "Oh, your drink looks radioactive," and I'm like, "Is that Slurm?" But yeah, glowing things. Nuka-Cola also. Yeah, right. Nuka-Cola Quantum. You don't want to drink that. Definitely don't want to drink that. That was a Fallout reference, if anybody didn't know that.
I caught it.
I have not played Fallout, but I did catch the reference, so.
I've got a couple of bottle caps coming your way as a tip for that one.
Excellent. I love it, because, I need all the caps I can get. I'm cap poor. I can trade in weapons. But, sorry, I'm big into Fallout. Anyway. So I'm really excited about that series. So, but yeah, you see, he's already starting to figure it out. Still not quite, but he is a little chagrined when he is talking to Tilly, even though he's still mostly the Rainer that we've already seen. But then he watches Tilly go over and sit with friends, and he watches them together and sees her laughing and just looks around at everyone and how they're interacting and realizes he is an island right now. And who's the only person who can change that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think I have a slightly different take.
Let's hear it. Okay. Let's hear it.
I think that he knows exactly what he's doing at all times, even when he knows he's doing something wrong. I think that my interpretation of that little montage we got of him talking to the crew was that he wasn't necessarily trying to understand them. He was trying to get them to understand him. And he was trying to elicit specific responses in order to see where this crew, where they lie in terms of how they deal with different types of stress, with how they deal with different types of command. He doesn't know any of them. That is 100% true and 100% right of Captain Burnham to give him this task of like, hey, get to know everybody. You have to work with them. You will be giving them orders. You need to understand who they are. And I think that his approach to the situation, I could be completely wrong, by the way, and, just reading too much into it and maybe hoping for the best, if you will, because maybe I do also see a little bit of myself in Rainer, just as much as I saw a little bit of myself in Shaw. These guys are a little cynical. They've been through it. They have been experiencing a lot of trauma. They have probably experienced a significant amount of loss, and they're not quite prepared to take all of that on as a brand new experience once again. And he has his guard up against this crew right now. He doesn't know how long he's going to last in this position. And granted, he's not exactly, doing himself any favors. And I think once we see that guard come down at the end with the bar scene, it leads us into thinking, yes, he will adapt to this crew eventually. But I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. And I think that's going to happen of his own accord, not necessarily a different crew members.
Interesting. And for the record, Mike, I would never have described you as a cynical person, so...
That's because you only know me through talking about positive things like Star Trek.
I mean, I have a fair amount of cynicism myself, so...
Same.
Yeah. Again, not words I would have used to describe you either, Brandi, so...
Yeah. But I also carry like a very no-nonsense attitude at work, and that's definitely brushed up against people the wrong way, where they think, oh, Mike's just being a dick. And it's like, yeah... Maybe. But at the same time, I want to get this done. You are not my family. It doesn't matter how many times a workplace says, we're a family, come in for pizza for lunch instead of, a raise. So I've heard that line too many times, and I've been through too many, corporate, mandatory corporate training about all different ways of interactions with individuals. And the workplace in our modern American capitalistic society is designed to suck it all out of you. So you become a soulless shell of yourself. So you can just slave away sending emails to people who want updates on things that they should have gotten an update on themselves, but they were too lazy to do so, so they're asking you. Yeah, anyway, I ranted again slightly. That's okay. But my point is that I have boundaries at work. And I'll be friendly, but I'm not going to go to the bar with you after work. I have a great family, I have a great circle of friends. Those are the people I want to spend time with. So I see myself a little bit in those types of characters when we see them.
Yeah, I get that. I worked at a company for 10 years where my boss said, no, we are family, and then fired me. So yeah, that if that doesn't turn you cynical, I don't know what will. Luckily, I'm just a peon in my current job and get paid more to do less, which is amazing. It is the most amazing thing. My life is so much better. I don't have to make a 30-mile commute twice a day anymore, and it's just an amazing thing. And I think that's probably why it's basically I'm an assistant to an engineer who draws up plans to install fiber optic cable for internet in housing developments. That's my job, is to be his assistant. And he's a Star Trek fan as well. And I can be a bit of a goofball. And I'll give things to him, and I'll use different accents every time. Like, here's your folder now with NDS. Yeah. But it's not like we hang out after work and stuff. He's got a family. I've got my husband. And so, yes, we're friendly to each other and we work well together, but we don't hang out outside of work. And actually, I think that can be an important boundary to have.
I think like the only thing I would say in response to that is I feel like a starship is a little different.
Agreed.
Because you are sharing living space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I wouldn't apply that to Discovery at all.
Yeah.
Definitely, you work better with people when you know who they are, instead of just only seeing what their records say.
But, we see that... I almost called him Shaw.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh. No, it's okay.
My fault.
No, all good. We see that Rayner really kind of... I won't say he totally comes around by the end, but he sees Tilly's point of like, this is how we work here. It's why it's important to get to know your crew other than just, in a little more intimate capacity than just what's in the file. So, also, I really like that when Tilly was blowing up at him, she counted her words and ran out before she got to "you're being a giant," insert whatever here. But I think that's going to be a really fun dynamic to watch this season. I said it in our last episode where we covered episodes 1 and 2, is that I think Rayner's a really interesting character, but he's also a character I personally find abrasive. And I don't tend to like characters like that, but I think he is going to be a really important foil for Michael on the show. But I'm seeing also, like, I feel like he and Tilly are going to be like this good cop, bad cop, like buddy cop duo. And I think that's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, I think he's going to show his soft underbelly some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to find out that he collects baseball cards or something. Something like that. Or he really loves rom-coms. I think, we're going to walk in, he's watching You've Got Mail or something.
I am here for it. I want to know one thing about him that's not in his file.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to know. I want to know what that is.
I hope that comes up.
I think we'll learn.
Yeah.
I think we're going to learn something.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that comes up. I think that'll be great. All right, folks. Is there anything else that we want to talk about in regards to Season 5, Episode 3, Jinaal? Go ahead, Mike.
I think that the action on Trill is pretty fun. I like the little trek through the quarry to find the clue, right? Interesting that it is not actually a clue whatsoever, but the actual piece of the map, of the key, of the thing, the actual product that we're looking for. And I love how Jinaal was just so, like, kind of loosey-goosey about it. He's like, oh yeah, I hid it over there. We can beam over, I forgot the coordinates. Let's just take a walk. And it's just like a nice stroll. There's a monster screaming in the background, and, Book is like, what are we doing out here? Maybe we should pick up the pace. And the whole, Jinaal's very cavalier attitude, I love that. It was a life and death situation. He has been around for 800 years, and he's just had it. And that, the older you get, the more, cynical, wise, you get a thick skin, you realize what matters, what doesn't. I can only imagine what's going through his head 800 years later, waking up in 3191 and you're looking at the stars. You see your friends come up. Well, you see these people who want the next piece of the clue, and you just reach into a rock and you go, here you go. Here's the actual piece you're looking for. Don't worry about that thing over there. That was all a fake out. I loved it. Have fun, guys. I hope you had a good time. And sidebar, that's the same set as Talos 4 from season 2 when they went to visit with Captain Pike. To visit the Talosians. So I thought that was cool. We were just missing the singing plants.
Yeah, good catch on there, Mike. I did not catch that. It's been a minute since I've watched season 2, so gonna have to correct that. Brandi, any other final thoughts on this episode before we wrap for today?
Someone needs to explain to me how Maul got into that room. How did Maul get so close to the symbiont pools? How is that possible? That needs to be explained, because I'm not happy with that at all.
I think that speaks to the severity of our antagonists and how threatening they actually are.
I will be willing to accept that explanation, like that. Oh, they're actually just really that good, like at their jobs. And in book already observed in like the previous 2 episodes, it's like no, they are very good at what they do. They take these high risk things. So, there's something to be said for that. But I also had that question. I was like, would not the Trill folks, would they not notice that, oh, this is not one of our trainees? This is not somebody we've seen before. Like, I don't know how you don't know that, but
yeah, especially with so few symbionts.
Is she also like, was she disguised somehow, or did she just like kind of sneak in and stay at the back of the line and kind of keep her distance? I don't know.
That really bothered me, and I hope it gets explained, because if it doesn't, I'm gonna be ticked.
Yeah, and so the one thing we haven't mentioned is, at the very end of the episode, we see Maul put something on Adira, who is then beaming back to Discovery. So
gotta be a tracker.
It's that would be my assumption. So
I've watched episode 4, so I can neither confirm nor deny.
All right. Well, I guess we'll just have to watch and find out next week. So anyway.
Jet Reno. We get a little Jet Reno
Oh
in this
gosh,
episode.
that was that. Yes, Mike, the line you sent me, I also wrote that one down. So who has the best Jet Reno impersonation? Can say that?
I don't know.
I feel like a woo-woo asshole.
That was pretty good.
Did you do your Vulcan meditations yet, you woo-woo asshole? I love that. I got a big kick out of that. Tig Notaro is a welcome, has been a welcome addition to the Star Trek pantheon of characters. In the line of the greats, Dr. McCoy, you've had Worf, you've had Sisko and Odo, you've had the Doctor, all these like kind of fun yet surly in a little bit of a way, and it just, I love it. You gotta have a character like that. It just, comedic tension.
Yeah.
It's just how great she does it with this complete deadpan delivery. That's her thing. That is her magic, is how she delivers these things without ever seeming to raise her voice in any way or expend any unnecessary energy. It's magnificent.
I also really appreciate that she's the voice of the fandom. In this episode where she calls Stamets Space Dad. She's like, wake up, Space Dad. like, don't you see what's going on here? I really enjoyed that. That was great. So yes, the triumphant return of Tig Notaro as Jet Reno is always welcome in my book. She's definitely one of my favorite characters. Always makes me laugh.
I agree completely. And if people didn't know about it and you have Amazon Prime, go watch her 1 hour special that she has there, her stand-up special, because she's basically Jet Reno is Tig Notaro. Right. So it's just her comedy is magnificent. I adore her in every way.
Yeah. She's a lot of fun. Oh, I think my other favorite line is, "To rush a salat is to risk a goring." I thought that was pretty great.
Good times.
Was writing. I was explaining to Mr. Nerdy Blogger. He's like, "A what?" And I was like, "Yeah, a salat, like young Spock had in the animated series. That was his pet." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that one."
Yeah, the sort of large tiger, sort of tusky thing.
Yeah.
But not striped. It's just a big cat, basically. It's a giant cat of some kind.
Yep. All right. Well, folks, I think that's about all we've got time for today on We Are Starfleet. Mike, can you remind the folks at home where they can connect with the podcast on socials?
Oh, yeah. So if you are a person who utilizes social media, you can find us at Starfleet Pod on pretty much everything but TikTok, because I'm not in the age group for TikTok, so I didn't get it. But we're Threads, Blue Sky, we mentioned Shitter, otherwise known as Twitter or X, depending on your predilection towards Elmo. Where else? No, that's it. At Starfleet Pod is the social media handle you want to find. Trying to be more active on Instagram as well, so make sure you follow us, and we'll post episode updates, some cool photos, maybe some behind the scenes action. You never know. I don't know. It's whatever I'm feeling like. Or, if Ashley's got a new fangirlish article coming out, you can 100% find a link on any one of those sites.
Mike, while you're talking, is there a place if folks want to connect with you directly? What's the best way to do that?
If anyone wants to connect with me directly, you can find me MikeSlamer.me. All
right. Very good. Now, Brandi, how about you?
I'm in places. Let me think for a second. Okay, Shitter is Brandywine12. Sorry, you've done that to me now, Mike. I'm gonna have a hard time doing that on other places.
Devin,
where
Shitter.
I don't want to. Tit for tat. So yeah, Brandywine12 on that place. I'm honestly only active in regards to podcasting on that these days. On Blue Sky, I'm at brandywine.bsky.social. I'm also Brandywine on Mastodon at Brandywine at ravenation.club. And if you want to find me on Instagram or Threads, I'm just Brandi Jackola. I think that's it. Oh, also, I do a live show with my friend Dan, as I aforementioned. It's called The Unready Room, and we talk about each new episode of Star Trek after it comes out, and that's usually, depending on Dan's schedule, it's usually at noon Mountain Time on YouTube. His channel is Kurt Ratz Productions. And the reason we started doing it at noon is because people outside of the U.S. were complaining that it was always on too late for them to watch live. So we started doing it at noon on Saturdays so that we could get more people in the chat. And the chat is very fun during that, so definitely swing on by for the live show. And I do have a Discovery podcast on my own called What the Future Holds. Our good friend Chris, that my husband and I podcast with, is going through some life stuff right now, and I'm not sure how much he'll be joining us, but we will be getting out episodes soon. Since we're an independent podcast, we basically just do what we want, and so we may not actually have things out in a very timely fashion, but by the time we get something out, everybody else has already listened to everything else, and now they can listen to us without, worrying about all the other podcasts they have pending. That's my silver lining. Anyway, those are all the things I'm doing right at this moment.
Very cool. Very cool. If you want to connect with me, you can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Mastodon at The Nerdy Blogger. You can read my words on fangirlish.com, where I write about film and television, mostly Star Trek. I will be covering all the Star Trek shows, so stay tuned for weekly episode reviews, news updates, that sort of thing on there. Also, you can go check out those interviews that I referenced earlier in the show, where I got to interview Doug Jones and David Ajala, Michelle Paradise and Alex Kurtzman, Wilson Cruz, Mary Wiseman, and Blue Del Barrio, and of course our queen and our captain, Sonequa Martin Green. You can check all of those out at fangirlish.com. You can also read my words on my blog, nerdyblogging.wordpress.com. You can hear my words being read on the Sci-Fi 5 podcast, which is 5 minutes of science fiction history 5 days a week. The full archive is available at roddenberry.podcasts.com. If you want to hear me otherwise talk about things that aren't Star Trek, you can hear me on Podcast 616, which is the Marvel podcast I do with my co-host Hugh McStay. Which both of you guys have been on before, which is great. I love it. I love bringing my friends onto my show. And you can also hear me on a new podcast I'm doing with some friends called the Video Store Podcast, which is a show with rotating hosts where we give you 4 movie recommendations an episode based around a theme or an actor or an era, decade, whatever. Basically the kind of movie recommendations you might get from somebody that works in a video store. So you can check that out on Substack. All right. I think that's all the things that we have to say about Star Trek Discovery episode 503. Thanks again for tuning in to We Are Starfleet. If you like the show, please do us a favor and drop us a 5-star review wherever you download your podcasts. The 5-star reviews are really what help folks find our show, and it increases our listenership, and so we'd really appreciate you doing that. Stay tuned next week, where 2 of our hosts, I believe... Who's on the show next week, Mike? It's you?
It should be myself and Ian next week. Or it could be Ian and Craig, but I know Ian's involved.
Ian is definitely involved. So you're definitely hearing Ian next week as they tackle Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 4. So thanks again for listening. And until then,
Are you a fan of the Marvel Universe?
Can you tell your Kang from your Doctor Doom?
Well, if so, boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Podcast 616 is the We Made This Network's long-running Marvel podcast, and it's under new management.
We're your hosts, Ashley Thomas
and Hugh McStay.
And together, we are going to lead you every step of the way through the Marvel Cinematic Universe's upcoming multiverse saga.
Everything from She-Hulk to Avengers Secret Wars will be covered on the podcast in the kind of detail that would make a Wikipedia article blush.
We're going to have some detours into the wider Marvel world where we'll look at non-MCU projects dating all the way back to Marvel's origins in the groovy, funky 60s, and all the way up to the birth of the greatest franchise in cinema history.
And we'll be joined on our adventure by a roll call of guests so impressively knowledgeable that they'll make the Avengers themselves look clueless by comparison.
So if you like your opinions sharper than Wolverine's claws,
or takes hotter than the Human Torch's underpants,
then get Podcast 616 in your ears as a matter of urgency.
You'll love it 3000.
Podcast 616.
Disassemble.